For decades, the Kutch and Saurashtra regions of western India were crippled by cyclical droughts. The climate reliably scorched the earth, leaving millions of people without basic agricultural stability or reliable drinking water. Yet, just a few hundred miles away, the Narmada River, the fifth largest in the country, was carrying a massive volume of fresh water completely untouched, emptying straight into the Arabian Sea. In 1946, the first Home Minister of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, proposed a geographic intervention. He conceptualized a massive dam across the Narmada to trap that runoff and pump it directly into the most arid corners of the West. By 1961, Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru was laying the foundation stone. He branded these massive infrastructure projects as the new temples of modern India, engineering marvels designed to permanently eradicate famine. This was framed as an existential necessity. For a newly independent nation trying to secure its own survival, capturing the Narmada River was a literal lifeline to modernization. The sheer physical scale required to achieve this was staggering. The main concrete gravity dam stretches 1.2 kilometers across the river valley, constructed with 7 million cubic meters of chilled concrete. The concrete wall feeds an interconnected canal system stretching 75,000 kilometers across the landscape. The central artery of this network, the Narmada Main Canal, is the largest lined irrigation canal in the world. At peak flow, it pushes 1,133 cubic meters of water every single second into the drought-prone districts. But feeding that network requires an immense backlog of water. To build enough pressure, the dam creates a reservoir upstream that submerges 37,000 hectares of land, bleeding across the borders of Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Madhya Pradesh. This creates an immediate geographic paradox. To bring life and prosperity to the drought-ridden plains in the west, engineers had to permanently drown the ancestral lands and homes of tens of thousands of people in the east. While the water flows out to the farms, the dam acts as a massive engine. 6 200-megawatt Francis pump turbines and 5 50-megawatt Kaplan turbines generate a combined 1,450 megawatts of electricity for 3 states. However, as the mechanical ambition of the project grew, so did the human toll. The rising reservoir threatened indigenous groups and rural farmers with forced displacement, often with highly contested promises of resettlement. Local anger rapidly coalesced into the Narmada Bachao Andolan, the Save Narmada movement. What started as local village resistance grew into a highly organized, decades-long campaign against the human cost of the dam. The pressure eventually reached the global financial system. Under intense international scrutiny over environmental and human rights flaws, the World Bank officially pulled its $200 million funding from the project in 1993. 2 years later, the Supreme Court of India officially stepped in and completely halted the dam's construction over severe resettlement concerns. A physical marvel of concrete and steel was entirely paralyzed by the courts. The Narmada Valley had become the world's most prominent ideological battleground, forcing a direct confrontation between national economic development and the rights of the displaced. Look at this cross-section of the dam wall. We can use it as a vertical bar graph, because the physical height of this concrete became the exact metric dictating both the project's utility and its destructiveness. In the year 2000, the Supreme Court allowed construction to revive, but strictly capped the wall's height at 111 meters to limit the flooding upstream. Following grueling, phased legal reviews over resettlement progress, the court begrudgingly permitted engineers to raise the limit to 121.9 meters in 2006. Finally, in 2014, the Narmada Control Authority granted permission to push the dam to its maximum authorized height, 138.68 meters. The math behind these legal fights is brutal. Every single added meter exponentially increases the volume of water available to the drought-prone regions downstream, while simultaneously drowning more villages upstream. The decades spent slowly raising this concrete represent a physical timeline of India's attempt to balance massive human progress against forced human sacrifice. After more than 50 years of planning, construction, and litigation, Prime Minister Narendra Modi officially inaugurated the completed dam in 2017. By late 2019, the reservoir finally hit its peak capacity. The modern surplus is undeniable. The project feeds a statewide drinking water grid that secures domestic supply for 29 million people across nearly 10,000 villages and towns. Through the canal network, 1.84 million hectares of historically arid, drought-prone land have been converted into highly productive agricultural hubs. Towering directly over the river, facing the dam, is the Statue of Unity. Built to honor Sardar Patel, it stands as a triumphant, booming tourist destination, celebrating a realized vision. Entire river ecosystems vanished beneath the rising water, while tens of thousands of families lost ancestral lands and homes to the dark reservoir. The Sardar Sarovar Dam undeniably saved an entire region from chronic drought, yet it stands firmly in the landscape as a reminder that in the architecture of modern nations, the greater good is always purchased at a profound, localized price.